Assalamu alaikum. I don't know. I've never streamed before, so I don't know if this is working the way I wanted to. But if you can hear me but you can't see me, then that's absolutely fine. There's nobody in here anyway watching me. But I wanted to make this video as kind of like a series, inshallah. I'm going to be doing every single week on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. British summertime when I'm going to be building a halal agency from scratch. So I'm deciding to start with a halal agency because I think it's the easiest one to start off with, to be honest with you. And then once I build this to 10K per month, inshallah, I'm also going to build a coaching business and then build another business, whatever it would be after that. And to begin with, I'm literally just going to start from scratch. I'm going to start by literally just getting everything started with a business, like the niche, the offer, the service I'm going to learn to deliver. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to outreach. I'm going to literally do it live so you guys can see everything. I'm going to be able to do as much as I can possible live so you can follow along. The whole goal is to have you follow along so you can end up watching me and being like, cool, right, I'm going to do outreach at the same time as Fedi. I'm going to do his offer. I'm going to do tweak this like this. I'm going to do this like this, inshallah. So if you are in the live right now, it says I've got 2 viewers, way, or 4 viewers, 7 viewers, alhamdulillah. Do you guys mind telling me, can you actually see my face? Like, what can you guys see right now? Because I have no idea what anybody can see. So please do let me know, like, what can you guys actually see right now? Can you see my face? Can you not see my face? What can you guys see? Just so I know, because it's the first time I've streamed and I was having issues with it earlier. So I'm not too sure. So let me type in, can you hear me? That's the first thing. Yes, perfect. Can you see my face? There's going to be a bit of lag, by the way, between me and the chat. Everything perfectly. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I can't see myself or anything, so this is very, very weird for me. But anyways, let's literally just get started. I want to literally go through this process as if I was starting from complete zero. Like I've got no idea what's going on and I'm just getting started, whatever. So this is how I think about it, okay? The first thing I want to understand is, right, how is the business actually structured, okay? And at this point, I'm going to use my own knowledge, obviously, but I want to help you guys understand it specifically. So a business is structured in basically 4 main things. So we're going to have the traffic, then we're going to have a way to convert that traffic. That's the next thing. We're going to have to be able to convert that traffic, which is like, you know, selling, or you can have a VSL, whatever it would be. Then I'm going to have to be like, okay, cool. What's my price going to be? I got my price. Okay, what are my deliverables? So what is going to be my service? Okay, we got that. So this is what I'm going to be breaking down, inshallah, and showing you guys how to do everything from scratch. And then next, we've got retention. How do I retain my customers? So inshallah, this is what we're going to be focused on, bi'idhnillah, today. We're probably going to be focused on the first part, which is the traffic. And when we get into the traffic, obviously there's stuff we're going to have to figure out within this, right? So we're probably going to have to do 2 things or 3 things today. We're going to try and do it as quickly as possible because I want to show that it's possible to do this with like 2 to 4 hours a week of work. Maybe the results won't come quickly. There's no guarantee with that, but I'm at least going to obviously try my best. So we're going to have the niche. Inshallah, we're also going to have the offer. And then once we've got the offer sorted, we're also going to decide how we're going to start generating traffic. And I've already kind of decided how to do this because I want to make this as easy for anybody to start as possible. Again, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot, so I apologize if it gets annoying, but I'm literally going to be taking this as if like I'm starting from scratch. To answer your question, how do you feed fire? I'm literally going to be building a business from zero. So from absolutely zero, I'm going to be building it to 10K per month. Not in this live stream. This is like, I'm doing this so you guys can follow along with my thought process. So if somebody was out there and they were really motivated and they were like, do you know what? I want to start. I want to get this done. I want to actually build a vehicle for me to be financially free in a halal manner. Then you can follow along with me, bi'idhnillah. So let's keep going. Okay. Now, when people ask questions about the niche, the offer, and all of that good stuff, I think a lot of people get confused about picking the right or wrong niche. And when you pick the niche, you kind of have to base it on a few things. And obviously, like I said, I'll follow along with you guys and show you what I want to do as well. But you have to think about your interests first, because if you're not interested in a niche, if you're not interested in the topic itself that you're going to be kind of working with and stuff like that, there's no point in doing it. So for example, when I had an agency and I worked with dentists, I didn't really enjoy anything to do with dentistry. Like I'm not a dental student, right? I don't have anything to do with dentistry. I've got no interest in it. My family doesn't have anything to do with dentistry. In fact, the first niche I ever picked was translation agencies, because my mum's a translator. So I was like, oh, do you know what? I'll do something that my mum really likes to do because I enjoy it as well. And so think about your interests. Next, we're going to think about money. And after we think about money, we're going to think about the problems they have and if we can or can't solve those problems. And if it's not already clear, I'm going to work with businesses, because I think businesses have the most money, in my opinion, in the world, right? Like who are the wealthiest people? Who are the wealthiest individuals? It tends to be business owners. They're just normal everyday people who own a business. So I want to work with people who have money, because I want to be able to charge as high as possible later on down the line, so I can get to 10K per month as soon as possible. And money is going to be a big one for me. So already, if I'm going to pick something, it's going to be businesses. So that's my first thing in terms of picking my niche, businesses, right? And again, I'm building here a halal agency. So if you're thinking of starting a coaching business or a software company or like an influencer marketing agency or something like that, you don't have to follow along with me, because some things are going to be confusing at the start. But inshallah, if you're thinking of starting a halal agency of some kind or just a service like copywriting, whatever, then you want to follow this, inshallah. So interests. Okay, with my interests, well, I've got a few interests. I'm interested, obviously, in business itself. I'm interested in, tech a little bit. AI and stuff, like I get a little bit confused. Tech a little bit. I'm interested in fitness. I like fitness. That's something as well. Right. So if you're following along, right now we're thinking about our interests. So write down your interests, whether it's in the chat or just anything you do, just look at think of your interests. And by the way, I can't really see the chat. So if you have anything to say in the chat, I'll be able to check it like a few seconds later, because there's a lag to always. Wa alaikum salam to anybody who said assalamu alaikum. So we're doing a service-based business, akhi. So we're doing a service-based business. We're going to figure out deliverables and exactly what we're going to do in terms of our service. But we're doing a halal agency, so it's a service-based business. Okay, so we're going to work with businesses. To be honest, the space I really like is the business space. And so there's a couple niches in this space itself. And if you ever get confused, because obviously, like I said, I know this from previous knowledge, you can literally come into here. I don't know if I'm still logged into ChatGPT. I haven't used it in a while. Maybe later. Thank you very much. So we'd go in, and then I had this saved somewhere. Okay, here it is. If you're completely confused as to what you'd want to do, this is the prompt I would use. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. This is the prompt I would use. If you're completely confused about niches and you're uncertain of what you'd want to do exactly, okay, apparently there's too many characters. So I'm going to upload it in 2. So you guys can copy paste it, inshallah. Here are the, apparently I'm going to upload it in 3. There you go. So you can copy and paste that. No, feed fire Habibi, you probably won't need money. I'm doing it to try and stay as close to 0 as possible. So I don't think you'll necessarily need money. As you can see, I'm using the free version of ChatGPT, for example. And so that's the question I asked ChatGPT beforehand, right? And I'm not picking the ones it mentioned here, but after you write down what your interests are and everything, you can tweak what I've given you in the chat and basically tweak it for whatever you like. That you'll find that more useful, inshallah. So business, cool. When it comes to business, there's going to be a few people. There's going to be consultants. They're in the business space. There's going to be general businesses, but it's a bit difficult to work with general businesses, right? I want to be specific with who I want to work with. And so what I'm probably going to pick as a niche in this case, and I want to move quickly with this because a lot of people overthink this, is I'm just going to work with business consultants, right? I'm going to work with people who consult businesses on their business, basically. They might help them with something to do with marketing, their finances, all that good stuff. So I'm going to work with business consultants. Cool. Now that I've decided who I'm going to work with, and I know these guys have money because a business consultant usually is a business. Right? This person has their own business. They don't usually work for anybody else. So now I'm going to figure out about their problems. Now this is where we're going to use ChatGPT a lot more, because I'm going to, like I said, assume you're completely starting from 0 and you don't really have much an idea of what the problems are that this niche faces, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 types of research. We're going to do research with ChatGPT, then we're going to do research with what we're literally going to do online. And like I said, I'm literally going to be doing everything with you, inshallah. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. As you can see, by the way, we started the stream like 9 minutes ago. And when you break it down like this, so how am I going to generate traffic? I need to pick a niche. I need to pick an offer. I need to start outreaching later on. We just take it one step at a time, otherwise we're going to be overwhelmed. Niche first, cool. When I'm picking a niche, what are my interests? Do these group of people have money? What problems do they have? Start off with your interests. It's the easiest one. It's the easiest one to decide, like, what are you interested in right now? You might be interested in fitness, business, tech, AI, whatever it would be. Next, you can use the prompt that I gave you after you've decided what your interests are and put it into ChatGPT. Once you've decided, right, ChatGPT has given me a list of different niches. In this case, I'm not using the list it gave me like the last one I showed you, but I'm using a list that I made by myself, following this exact process, by the way, but it will give you a list. If I can show you, there you go. It gives you a list right here. And so then I'm going to pick my favorite one from that list. And now my job is to learn more about them. Again, I'm not an expert on this niche. I've never worked with business consultants, by the way. My business partner, Mohammed, has a lot, but I personally haven't. So it's as if I'm starting from zero. I'm not very confident in this niche. So I want to figure out their problems. Because if I'm not able to solve their problems, I'm not going to be able to make any money. I had a friend who started a business, and he was basically selling like these cards that you can print out for businesses. Like basically like a business card. You know when you walk somewhere and like somebody might give you their card for you to contact them later, whatever it would be. He basically did something similar, except it has like their Instagram, their Snapchat, like all their social media. And yeah, he didn't make much money. In fact, he struggled to get his first sale for a very long time, primarily because he wasn't solving a problem they cared about. And that's the truth. They didn't care much about it, and so they didn't want it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open a new chat. I always like to start off with, hey chat. That's just what I do with ChatGPT. Hey chat. I am building an agency. Start off with that. Look, we don't know what service we're going to deliver yet. We don't know anything yet, okay? And I want to deliver a service that solves an incredibly painful problem for niche. In this case, niche for me is business consultants. Okay, that's the priority. This alone, right, we're going to add more to it because I believe that if you want to get something good from AI, you want to give it something good in the first place, right? Garbage in, garbage out. When we put something good in, we get something good out. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell it three things, okay? Number one, what's my criteria for the problem, okay? The problem should be solvable by a beginner committed to learning a skill. That's the first thing. You're not going to be able to solve it as you are now. Like this is the thing, a lot of people kind of, these gurus try and sell to you this fact that it's just going to be easy money, you're going to make it while you sleep, you don't have to put any effort in. We're going to put effort in. Like I said, I'm going to take you guys on this journey with me of putting in the effort. But the most important thing is I want to be able to be committed towards one thing, which is building a skill, okay? So I can build a skill, I can build some sort of like system to help people. It's a lot easier than me having to do one, multiple skills, and two, develop some expertise, right? I want to put in my reps because right now what I have is the momentum, or it's the commitment basically to grow. I'm not an expert, right? I'm starting in a niche I don't have much clue about, so I'm not an expert. And so I want to use something where I'm willing to learn about, not I need to have loads of experience on, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is I'll need to list out some skills you already do have, right? So the problem should be solvable by a beginner committed to learning skill. The skills I already have are communication, sales. I might make some spelling mistakes. Excuse me, guys. Communication, sales, content. I've done outreach before, so I'll put cold calling as my skill. And if you have no skills, that's absolutely fine. You can ignore this part and you can just stick with the first part, okay? The second thing is that I want it to be a problem that they will always have / have always had. Why do I say this? Because I don't want a problem that has only existed since COVID, for example, because that problem will probably disappear. And most problems that people had during COVID disappeared once people left lockdown, for example. I also don't want it to be a problem that exists today but disappears tomorrow. Meaning, I don't want it to be a problem that has already been solved. Just to put it simply, I don't want it to be a problem that has already been solved for most people. And this allows me to actually be able to continuously make money without being replaced by anybody or anything. Okay? Because I want to be here in the long run. I don't want to be replaced by software. I don't want to be replaced by AI. I want to be here in the long run. So hopefully you guys can actually see my screen, by the way. Hopefully it's all working correctly. Let me know. Okay, let me know if you guys can actually see my screen, because I'm not actually 100% certain if you can see my screen, but let me know if you can see the screen, and then I'll check the chat, inshallah. Now, third and last but not least, in terms of the skill, right? I want it to be a problem that has been solved in the marketplace. So please list a few competitors / other people who have solved the problems. And then I'm just going to say, give me a list of 5 problems. There you go. Now, we're going to see what ChatGPT gives me. Hopefully it's good. Like I said, I've tested this in my own time, but live, it's very, very different, of course. Let me check the chat real quick. So if you haven't done outreach before, Echi, you're just going to have to start doing outreach, because it's the way to generate traffic for our business. So the point of getting traffic is to get people to know you exist and that you have something to sell. So who do we need to know? This is like, if you want to understand the principle of it, like this is asking who. That's the first question we're like answering. Who are we going to basically sell to? What are we going to sell them? That's the second question. What am I actually going to sell these people? And obviously, inshallah, we'll figure that out. And then how am I going to sell to them? Or how do they need, like, how are they going to find out that I have something to sell? So those are the 3 questions we're going to ask ourselves. And you have to do this for every single business. You have to. If you're, in the future, Allahu Alam, I don't really believe in digital products. I think they're useless and I don't think they help anybody solve any problem. But if I was to just show people like how to build a digital products business, the niche, the offer, the outreach, it wouldn't be outreach, for example. You might run ads. You might do organic content. The effort you put in is still the same, to be honest with you. It just depends on what you already have skills in. But the outreach is going to be done regardless. Like, people are going to have to know that you exist, because that's how you generate sales. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. So we've got 5 painful problems consultants always have. Each one you can solve using your existing strengths: communication, sales, content, and cold calling. Why it hurts. Okay, awesome. So predictable, qualified, book discovery calls. Okay, reliable lead pipeline. That's problem number 1. Turning discovery calls into signed clients. So closing, crafting high-value magnetic offers. So making offers, building consistent content authority that generates inbound leads. Right, so there's content. A repeatable cold calling / outbound system for niche verticals. This one, I do not know what ChatGPT means. Just being blunt with you guys. I have no idea what the heck this means. I'm not going to bother reading it. So this one, I completely rule out. Now, for me, the one I think I'm probably strongest in, the one I think will be the easiest to learn, so like I said, we're going to try and learn together, inshallah, it's probably going to be this one. But I have a feeling that what they care more about is actually getting them into clients. So turning discovery calls into signed clients. So this is a predicament you might have, like, I think this one's the one I can solve the best, but then this one they might care more about. And so in the offer, I'm probably going to talk about this, but actually deliver this. If that doesn't make sense, you'll see what I mean exactly when I build the offer, inshallah. Okay, so this is going to be the problem that I solve for them. So the problem that I solve is going to be booking consistent and predictable demo calls, right, or discovery calls. Okay, bam. So that's going to be that, inshallah. So that's how you research number 1. You guys remember I told you there's 2 ways to research. Number 1 is you use ChatGPT. Number 2, and in my opinion, the stronger way to do it, is once you have a problem that you're aware of, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go on YouTube. Oh, actually, maybe I can use my research profile. Yeah, this one will have better stuff. YouTube. So we're going to YouTube. Then, hey, that's me. What the heck? Then we're going to do 2 things. We're going to get our problem that we already have, right? So we're going to get the problem that we have. Let me just copy it. And we're going to type our niche, then problem. Business, consultants. And then we're going to put, let's put booking sales calls. So we're basically just saying the problem itself, right? One of the best cold call openers ever. Okay, these people are talking about cold calling. So they're talking again about cold calling, not specifically to do with my niche itself. AI agency, right? Okay. So again, nothing about business consultants. Okay, cool. How to book more sales calls as a coach and consultant. Amazing. Even if it doesn't have a lot of views, I want to understand the language. This is what I'm looking for at this point. The language and how this guy describes the problem itself. Because a lot of people, they use language that has nothing to do with the person that they're talking to. When I worked with dentists, for example, I used to talk about clients. Dentists don't have clients, they have patients. So when I said I'm going to get them high-ticket clients, they're like, what the heck's a high-ticket client? And it made no sense to them, right? And so when we understand the language they use, we can describe their problem better, and they'll assume that we know what we're talking about. Which again, at the start, you're building that knowledge base, you're building that skill set, you're learning, but you want to give yourself the best chance possible for somebody to go, I trust this guy. Because you're putting in the work, you're learning about their language, and you're improving yourself. So I'm not going to do it here, but you'd open up videos like this in the back. How to build master level authority, no. Discovery call script, no. Right, so I'm going to put business consultants, lead generation. Let's see. Strategy for consultants. Okay, perfect. This is one I can definitely watch just to learn. And by the way, when I watch this, I'm basically just going to be watching it on like 2 times, 3 times speed. Because what I'm trying to pick up is the language. I'm not trying to pick up anything else. I'm trying to pick up the language. I'm not watching it for tips yet. I'm just trying to understand the language. Lead gen for financial advisors. No. How to build systems. No. No, that's not what I'm looking for. No. Okay. None of the rest of the stuff is what I'm looking for. So this is part of step number 2, doing the research itself. And so you want to go even broader, and you can just put business consultancy or how to start a business consultancy, right? Because all of this, starting a consulting business, focus on these 3 things. Like, I want to understand my prospects, business consultants, when they got started or when they're spending, like when they're just living their life, basically, what videos do they watch? And that's what I want to know. I want to know what videos they're watching. And they're probably watching videos, everything you need to know about consulting. Again, bam, they'd probably watch this, right? Consulting is a scam. Consultants have 0 skills. They might not watch that. They might watch to laugh, but maybe not. Okay, how I built a 900K per year profit consulting business in 2025 without sales calls. Oh, now they might watch this because they're interested to see how it be done without sales calls. But remember, I'm bringing them more sales calls, so this one might not be useful for me. 3 courses to become a consultant, luxurious job. You guys get the point. I'd do that. Now, step kind of 2.1 or step 2.5, if you will, of the research process online is I want to find as many competitors as possible. So if I go back to ChatGPT, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT, I have picked problem 1 to solve. List a bunch of gurus, competitors, and businesses that sell to business consultants on helping them sign more, or sorry, not sign more clients necessarily, but get more qualified discovery calls. Helping them get more qualified discovery calls. Bam. This is the boring stuff, by the way, in business, in my opinion. Like, this is just, this stuff is just for me. Because I prefer to actually do it itself, right? In this case, Habibi, we're not consulting ourselves. So, oh, okay, good point. Let me move my face in that case. Bam. Hopefully that's better. Move my face over. But of course, this will work in Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia has loads of business consultants. Okay. Who the heck are these people? Competitors, existing businesses, B2B lead generation, right? Pearl Lemon leads, Science, maybe is that how you pronounce that? Belkins, appointment setting UK, consumer links, sales accelerant, exceptional thinking. Okay, Chris Ritson, gurus, there are people, Alan Weiss. Okay, sick. So they've probably read this book, I can assume. So I might decide to buy the book, right? And so Alan Weiss, I might go on and go, right, Alan Weiss, who is this guy? Consultant, speaker, and author. And I might read what he has to say about consulting, right? Business and entrepreneurship. I don't know what that is exactly. But if I go on his blogs, this is the other thing you do, right? You'd understand who is selling to my prospects. Who else out there has already solved my prospects' problems? That's how you're going to commit yourself to learning the skill, by seeing how other people have solved the problem already. Okay? And then, this is the thing that I'm going to show you guys about the structure of the business itself. What I do for me is what I'm going to do for these business consultants. And so I already have my skill in cold calling. So I might decide to do cold calling for me to book myself meetings, but also as a service for them. So therefore, if somebody asks me, do you have any testimonials? I don't have to go, and inshallah in the future, I'll show you guys me doing a sales call live, right, with Allah. I'll have to get permission from the person I'm having a sales call with. But I'll be in the sales call live, inshallah. And I'll be like, right, cool. I don't have any testimonials right now, because obviously I'm starting from scratch. But I've done, let's say, 1,000 cold calls, and I booked X amount of meetings. And that's for me. And you can expect something similar when I do this for you. And you're on the call with me. I got you from a cold call. As you can see, we make sure everybody's qualified. We make sure everybody's kind of on the same page as you. We make sure you're still seen as an authority with the way that you see what I mean? Like what I'm building in my business is what I'm going to build for other people. So there's no imposter syndrome. There's nothing like that, because what I'm doing for me is what I'm going to do for them. So as I learn for me, I get to do it for them as well. There's no, like if you do Facebook ads, for example, if you've already done Facebook ads for yourself, then amazing. If you've never done them before, not only do you have to, let's say, cold call or send DMs or send cold email to get yourself clients, but now you have to do a completely different thing as your service. I want to make sure they're one of the same thing. This is me just thinking ahead, okay? Right. They want to book consistent and predictable discovery calls. Now, in my own time, Akhwan, inshallah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually read this stuff because I want to understand more of the language that they use. I might listen to Alan's podcast. This is something I can do when I'm at the gym or anything, right? I'm going to listen to his podcast and just hear how he talks about consultancy, etc. Okay, contrarian consulting, awesome. Like consultants probably watch these guys and listen to them and read their stuff. And so I want to do the same. Like I said, I want to get in the headspace of my potential clients. So what I'm going to do next, in this case, is try and figure out how I'm going to build my offer. Now, this is how I like to think about offers. I've got $100 Million Offer there by Alex Hormozi. I love the book, and I think it's the book I think I've read the most, other than Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So, alhamdulillah, I've built 15 offers at this point, and I've reviewed 192 offers. So, I'm very, very strong, alhamdulillah, at building offers most of the time. And there's something I call the offer mountain, or the outcome mountain, if you will. Up here is the goal of our prospects. Now, based on what ChatGPT told us, okay, we can assume that the goal of our prospects here, specifically on the problem that we solve, is probably just incredibly, just more clients. Like, that's going to be the thing. It's like, more clients. Why do they want more clients? Obviously, it's like any business wants more cash. That's what every single business wants. Like, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Every single business wants more money. That's how a business grows. That's how it's able to help more people. So, cash. Cool. That's the top thing. The thing below that to get cash is clients. So converting those clients, I'm just going to draw a little person like this, converting the clients into cash. Before that, you've got actually booking a call with these clients and having them jump on a sales call of some kind. Right? So that's the thing before that. The thing before that is probably generating the lead. So that's just having like the name and the phone number, let's say, of the client, or like their email address, whatever it would be. And then the thing before that is probably just like the strategy itself. Like, this is what they get. And then before that's probably just going to be like information on how to do it. So I'm just going to put a little I. So for them to get to the cash, they first have to close a deal. The step before closing a deal is to actually book the deal. The step before booking the deal is actually being able to, get the information of that person so that you can reach out to them. And then the thing before that is like, how do I do this? And this is just like based on like they want information. And so our prospects are down here. This is where our business consultants are. And I do this with business consultants, by the way. If you're following along, and obviously you can follow along after the live because I'll just upload this on my channel, inshallah. You can just follow along and be like, right, I'm not interested in business at all. If you go to your interests, you're like, actually, I want to work with fitness coaches, or I want to work with SaaS companies, or I want to work with AI companies, or do you see what I mean? Like, you can decide whatever you want to decide. Like, based on your interests, ChatGPT will give you a good list of niches to pick from, inshallah. So what I'm going to do here is understand that I need to get them to make my offer good. This is just like really basic principle stuff. To make my offer good, I need to get them as close to here as possible. I'm not going to be selling a course, so I'm not going to sell them information. So I skip this part here. I'm not going to be selling them leads, right? So I'm not going to sell them like email addresses and like a way to get leads. I'm going to sell them booked appointments. So it's up here. But I'm still kind of far away from the top of the mountain where they want to be. So I'm going to pitch my offer in the sense that I'm getting them a certain amount of clients. Although I won't be closing the deals for them, I'm just going to be booking the appointments for them. The way I'm going to do it is that I'm going to tell them I'm going to help them get clients. So how am I going to be able to justify that? Let's see. Our good old friend ChatGPT. What is the average conversion rate from a booked discovery call to a closed and paying client for business consultants? I want to find out the average, because once I have the average, I'm going to be able to justify the numbers that I'm going to show them. Post-call convert, discovery call to client as industry. All right, 15%. Let's go somewhere in the middle, 15 to 25%. We'll go 20% in that case. We want to be quite conservative. We don't want to go like really, really high and assume the best. We want to go quite low. So if I brought them 5 calls, that's going to be 1 client for them. Now, again, we're building this in a halal manner. So I'm not trying to make a promise I can't keep. And so what I'm going to try and think about is when I'm going to build my offer and like talk about the guarantee and all of that stuff, I want to make sure this is something I know I can do at the start, even if it's a bit low. I'm not trying to make a big promise and under-deliver. I'm going to try and make a little promise and over-deliver on that promise, inshallah. So 5 meetings and they get 1 client. Cool. 1 client a week, potentially. I can probably help them get, so far to start off with, probably an extra 3 clients a month. 3 clients per month. Because that for me is 15 meetings a month. And I know these numbers, and you might not know these numbers, and that's okay, because you're going to discover them as you start cold calling for yourself and everything. But for me, I know that I can probably average out a 2% appointment booking rate on cold calls. Meaning for every 100 cold calls I do, I can book 2 appointments. And so 2% appointment booking rate. So I'm going to time this by 50. So 15 times 50, 250, and then 750. There you go. That took me a bit too long. So I'm going to have to do 750 cold calls a month to get them 15 meetings, which is what? Like, there's around like, let's say, 5 days, we're going to say like 22 working days in a month, I'm pretty sure is the number. So if we do 750 divided by 22, so 35 cold calls a day, that is incredibly doable. I can definitely do 35 cold calls a day. So we're going to do 35 cold calls a day, inshallah. That's what we're going to start off with, okay? Because we want to figure out these numbers later on, but I want to quickly kind of focus on this. We're trying to sell them to get to the top of the mountain. Because if you imagined you were trying to climb a mountain and you had somebody help you, and the guy was like, yeah, dude, I'm just going to help you, go halfway up the mountain or a quarter of the mountain. Like, why can't I just find someone who will take me up the mountain? Like, that's where I want to be. I want to be at the top of the mountain. I want to be at the top of Mount Everest. And this guy's proposing that he gets me halfway there. But if somebody promises you that they'll get you to the top of the mountain, you're more likely to say yes, because that's where you want to be. And again, it's harder to sell. It's harder to sell information. It's harder to sell an ebook. It's harder to sell a course than it is to sell done for you closing, for example, right? So for me, by taking them up the mountain, I've decided obviously to do it for them, like done for you. I'm delivering a service. I'm not consulting on them, so I'm not doing done with you, right? I'm not giving them information or telling them how to do, and I'm definitely not building a course, so it's definitely not do it yourself. I'm doing it for them. And so by me doing it for them, like imagine you carrying someone up a mountain, and then I'm carrying them like 80% of the mountain, I think that's going to be quite a strong offer. And so, Allahu Alam, but potentially, if you're watching this and you're thinking, right, I actually offer something down here, even if you don't change what you sell, start talking more about what they want, which is up here, right? Start talking more about what they want, which is up here, which is why me and Muhammad, my business partner, we've been able to get people, alhamdulillah, to make 6 figures in a year. So our offer has become the final destination that people want, which is making 100K in 12 months. Like that's because that's what people want. They want the top of the mountain, the cash in their bank account. So that's what we've been able to talk about in our offer, right? But at the start, me and Muhammad started up here, just talking about booked calls, because we didn't know that we can get people to the top of the mountain. We knew we can get them halfway, 100%. We didn't know we can get them to the top of the mountain. So once we did, we started promising that. And this, as you'll see, as we evolve our offer later on and we start charging more money and everything, this is something we'll talk about later. So we got part 1 of the offer, which is the outcome that we're getting them. And the outcome that we're promising is clients. And what we're getting them is booked meetings. Okay? So I'm going to put booked A, so BA for booked appointments. So that's part number 1. Now, part number 2, they don't care about the vehicle, by the way. So if we're going to say cold calling, we're going to say this, we're going to say LinkedIn, we're going to say Instagram DMs, it doesn't matter. Like we're going to say content, it doesn't matter. They don't care about the vehicle. They don't care how we're going to get them there. And so we don't want to talk about the vehicle. This is where most people make a mistake. They talk about the vehicle itself. So we've got the outcome of the business. Now we need to figure out the outcome of them as a person. Who do they want to become? This, alhamdulillah, I had to learn from paying a lot of money for a course, but it was really, really good, alhamdulillah. Most people don't realize that what people are looking for when they buy a solution to something is a transformation of some kind. They're looking to transform themselves. They're looking to go from being X to becoming Y. And so my goal, let me quickly increase the brightness for the camera. There you go. My goal, that's very ugly actually. Let's just do this. Bismillah. My apologies, Akhwan. And then turn down this. There you go. Inshallah, that's a little bit better. What our goal is going to be is to help them with the transformation thereafter. For example, if you sell weight loss, people don't really care about how much weight they lose. They care about the person they become at the end of it. They care about being a fit person or being skinny or having muscles. That's what they care about. They care about that transformation. And so we want to describe that transformation to them. And so I'm going to go with business consultants. So I work with business consultants who want to, I'm stuck. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to use the research I learned from Alan Weiss, right? So this is something I might update later on. Because like I said, I'm not an expert in this niche. I generally want to show you guys how to build it from zero. So I might go through the research on Alan Weiss so I can hear what is he describing? What is the outcome that he's saying that other people want? Because that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the outcome that he's describing, right? So I'm going to use the transformation that he keeps talking about. Like I can maybe guess what a lot of businesses do want, and I can potentially ask ChatGPT. But I'm just going to say with business consultants who want, and I'm just going to go with the outcome itself and the transformation, who want to have a fully booked calendar with qualified and interested discovery calls. Okay, we're going to stick with that for now. As you guys can tell, I'm not super confident with it. So I'm going to potentially change it once I watch Alan Weiss's stuff and understand a little bit more about who do these guys actually want to become. And this is why you have to be interested in this, because otherwise you're not going to bother learning about them. The people I've seen make the most amount of money with business is people who care about their clients. They care about who they work with. And when you care about who you work with, this little bit of research and this small stuff ends up being a lot more beneficial, inshallah. So let's zoom out a second. We're building our traffic. We've decided who we're going to work with. We're deciding now on what we're going to sell them. And later on, we're deciding on how we're going to outreach and how we're going to try and book meetings for ourselves. So let's go back here. Number 3, the guarantee. Now, I have 2 types of guarantees that I like the most. I like the guarantee where it's based on satisfaction, so how happy they are. And then I have the guarantee where it's based on results or the outcome itself. But the results one is going to be conditional. Now, I'm probably not going to do a conditional guarantee because, well, for one reason only. This is done for you. I'm doing this for them. Meaning they don't really have to do much work to get to where I'm taking them. I have to do most of the work. And so my guarantee is probably going to be satisfaction-based guarantee. That's probably how I'm going to do it. And so I might just do it the way that Hormozy talks about it a lot, which is if you feel like my service was not worth the price, then you get 100% refunded. That's it. If you feel like my service was not worth the price, then I'll refund you 100%. And I might actually double down on that guarantee and say, I'll work with you completely for free until we get you the results. I think that's something I'm going to do. Because that's a very, very strong guarantee. Remember, guys, I'm starting from zero. I've got no proof here. And so the guarantee is going to help me because I'm going to charge money. This is one thing I'll tell you guys now. I'm going to, I want you to charge money if you're following along, and I want to charge money, right? Because when we have this guarantee, we've already anchored ourselves with a value. We've already said, look, this is going to be valuable. That's it, okay? And so what we're aiming to do at this point is make sure that the price is something they think is worth it. And so we need to have a price. If we're free, it's like, this is free anyway. I don't like, what am I going to refund them, right? So I can't have the guarantee unless they pay me because it's a refund guarantee. One last thing when it comes to the offer, because we're going to put it together, is we've got the outcome that they want. We've got the outcome of kind of who they want to become. This one we're not 100% certain of, but that's okay. We don't need to have it right now. We have the guarantee. I'm going to put this one as like OPT, so it's optional. The last thing, when we put it together, is describe their problems incredibly well. And so for me, the reason I always have this in my offers is when we describe the problem itself, we end up understanding them a lot better. Just by describing the problems, we end up understanding them a lot better. And when you understand that when it comes to helping somebody, most of the times it comes from just being empathetic, meaning understanding them and understanding how they feel. The process of business it's not a scary process. Like, it's no different to the way you deal with people in everyday life. There's not much difference between making a friend and making a client. And so by understanding their problems and describing their problems to them, we can show that we've put in the effort not only to research, but that we do understand them. And so that's going to be point number 4. Point number 5, I think we're going to talk a bit more about bonuses. So I want to give them more than just cold calling, you know? I want to give them more than just cold calling. And so bonuses is going to be something that kind of tips them over the edge, where they're like, oh, dude, like, yeah, like, cool, you get me appointments, but how do I know they're going to show up? So we want a way to make sure that they do show up. So this is something else that we come here, and we're going to use ChatGPT for this. Like I said, I want to make this as easy for you as possible. So let's say we haven't even decided on our service yet. That's absolutely fine. We're going to go back up here, and I'm just going to copy and paste what ChatGPT told me. What problems do they deal with trying to achieve a predictable, qualified, book discovery calls, reliable pipeline? Awesome. So unqualified prospects is one thing. See, I'm picking up the words, right? Because I want to learn these words as well. Outreach, process, and volume. Inconsistent habits, right? So we're going to be consistent in the volume and therefore consistent what we get. No system for follow-ups, right? So we're going to have a system for things. This one we're not going to have because we're doing it, so they don't care. Generic, sounding like every other consultant. Right, cool. So we're going to have to make them sound unique. Lack of authority. So we want it to build authority and trust. Time and consistency. Right, that doesn't matter because we're doing it. Tracking conversion. They can track everything, so we're 100% transparent. Awesome. So I'm going to quickly write these down. Hopefully my handwriting isn't that bad. What was the first thing? The first thing was qualified, right? So we want them to be qualified. And then the second thing is consistency. So that's the second thing. I'll check the chat in a second, by the way, if anybody's put anything. Imagine if I'm just alone at this point. I'm okay with that. Okay. No repeatable system. Burnout, again, that one doesn't really matter. Positioning, that's it. So we want authority. That's another thing. And then transparency. Bam. So that's what we're going for. For them to be qualified, for the bookings to be consistent, for the bookings, so for the calls themselves to like have them be seen as an authority. So the average is going to make them an authority, and transparency, so we track everything. Cool. So with bonuses, how are we going to do this? So again, this is going to come from actually like trying this out yourself. Like I cannot stress this enough. The way I'm building the business here, and I know the answer to this because I've done cold calling before. So I know how I'm going to do these things. But if you don't, like you just have to start because you're going to figure it out. And of course you can watch a YouTube video. It'll be very, very useful. Like the point of doing this live is to make it easier for you. That's the goal, just to make it easier for you. And so we want them to be qualified. So we want to have two things in this case. We want to have like a criteria. So what actually makes somebody qualified? And the second thing is to get them to actually show up. So that's going to be the one thing. Consistent, that's just going to be a volume thing. So we're just going to be doing volume. Authority, cool. So we're going to build a VSL for them. That's going to make them an authority. We're going to send that before the call. So before call. Consistent, qualified, right. So we're going to add volume. We're going to add follow-ups as well. So we're going to do all the follow-ups for them. And we're going to build out a follow-up system. Transparency, so we're going to track all data and share it with them. So as you can see, I went from my service that I'm thinking of doing from just cold calling to building out a criteria, having a show-up process, right? Doing the volume, obviously, and building out a follow-up system, building out a VSL for them before the call to increase their authority, and tracking data. So now all of a sudden, when I say I'm going to get them the outcome, which is the booked appointments, and they ask me how, and I say, we cold call, that puts me in the bracket of everybody else who does the same thing as me. That doesn't make me different at all. But when I look at these small problems that they deal with, and I solve it for them, such as having a criteria, increasing the sharp rate, like doing as much volume as possible and making sure I follow up with everybody and like having a process for that, building out the VSL before the call, tracking data. Now, all of a sudden, when they ask me, what makes you different? I just say this. When I say we do cold calls, oh, we don't just do cold calls, by the way. We make sure they're qualified by following your criteria. We build a consistent pipeline that shows up. We have volume in our process, therefore it's completely consistent for you. And we also build out a follow-up system. So again, more people show up, right? We have a VSL that we build out to build authority for you before the call, just in case they don't know what you do. And then we track all the data and we show it to you every single day or every single week, for example, so that you know exactly what's going on in the business. Does that make sense so far? Inshallah, guy with glasses, I plan on making one once a week. Yes, Habibi, it will be turned into a video. Inshallah. Okay, let's do a quick recap in that case. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's do that. Okay, so to recap from the start, what does the business actually look like? Because I like to have things high level. Like, what does the business actually look like? What are we looking at here? Well, a business is made up of 4 components or 5 components, but I showed you 5, it's usually just 4. The traffic, the conversion of that traffic, meaning how we turn an eyeball or a person into cash, the price in which we decide to charge, the deliverables and the service, so how we're going to deliver things, how we're going to deliver the service, what service we're actually going to deliver, and how we're going to retain clients. Because what's the point in like signing a client if you lose them the next month? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no point. You've worked so hard to sign a client, now you lose them. It's just a pain in the butt. So those are the 5 things. And this week, or at least today, I want to get as much done on the traffic side of things. And right now we're building our offer, but we've decided on our niche based on 3 things. What are my interests? Do they have money? Yes, that's the thing that matters most to me because I want them to be able to pay me a lot of money, inshallah, and that's going to be businesses. What problems do they have? In this case, we use ChatGPT to tell us what problems they have, right? And obviously here, by the way, when you list out the interests that you have, you can also list out your skills. So I did this on the ChatGPT prompt, but you can list out your skills that you have. You can say, I'm skilled at communication, I'm skilled at AI, I'm skilled at this, I'm skilled at that. And if you have no skills, that's absolutely fine because you'll learn. Like ChatGPT will give you which skills you should develop so you can help these people the best that you can. Then obviously I wanted ChatGPT to describe the problems. In this case, it was booking consistent and predictable discovery calls, right? So now I've got who these guys are. They're business consultants, and their problem they're dealing with is booking consistent and predictable discovery calls. That's the thing I'm solving for them, inshallah. So now when it comes to building the offer, I spoke about the offer mountain. If you imagine somebody promised to get you up the mountain, you want to get as high to the top of the mountain as possible. Every business, what do they want at the top of the mountain? More cash. Obviously, I can't just give them money. Like the best offer possible would be somebody who just sends you money. Like obviously sends you money that could be a bit dodgy, but like as in, I go, right, you pay me now, let's say $5,000, and you're going to see $50,000 in your bank account. That's the best deal they can make. If the result was one, instant, and two, it was just cash, right? If I said you were going to pay me $5,000 and all of a sudden you're going to have your calendar full of like sales calls, or my team is going to close a bunch of clients for you, then that's the second best thing to cash. It's clients. It's like the second best thing to cash, right? In their mind. The third best thing is actually booking sales calls. So having sales calls on your calendar. So that's what we decided to go for, right? But the way we're positioning it is with this in mind, okay? Why did I do that? Well, because I have numbers on the average being 20%. So for every 5 sales calls, they close 1 client, meaning if I want to get them 3 clients per month, I'm going to have to book them 15 meetings. 15 meetings for me at 2% booking rate, meaning I book 2 sales calls for every 100 cold calls. That means I'm doing 750 cold calls a month, which is 35 a day, which is really not that much for me. I've done 150 a day for a couple months. So this is very, very chill, right? So for now, I want to prove that I can actually get 15 meetings a month. I'm going to prove it for myself first, because the way I'm structuring the business is what I do for me is what I do for others, right? So I don't have any imposter syndrome. If they ask me for proof or any testimonials, I can be honest and be like, look, I don't have any testimonials, but this is actually what I do for myself. This is how I got you on the call. And this is the process I've learned to develop. And then we went through the offers and how we're going to build an offer, right? So the first thing is to know what the outcome is. And we use the offer mountain to discover that, which is obviously getting clients, but getting clients through booking appointments. So that's what we're offering them. The outcome of who they want to become, this one I'm not super confident in. So inshallah, I'm going to watch this guy by doing research and seeing what is it that these people want to become, or who do they want to become. We decided to pick a guarantee, and we decided to go with a satisfaction guarantee. And I think you know the rest from there, Habibi. Okay, subhanAllah, we've done a lot. I think I'm going to pause here after I do one more thing with the offer. The value equation, right, that Hormozi talks about, is probably the only thing you guys need to put into your mind if you want to make a lot of money. Generally. Actually, I don't know why I'm writing out. Let me look it up. Value equation, Alex Hormozi. If somebody asked me, which my mum asks me all the time, how did you make your money, or how is money made? I just go value. How do you make money? You just provide value. And how do you provide value? That's another question. You get them as close as possible to their dream outcome. Remember the offer mountain? So we get them as close as possible to their dream outcome. We help them with a perceived likelihood of achievement, meaning how much we do for them or how much we help them get to that goal or dream outcome. How long it takes to get there, which we haven't spoken about yet in the offer, but we will, inshallah. And the effort and sacrifice in which they need to do to get there. Now remember, we're doing the service for them. So they don't really have to do much effort and sacrifice other than taking the sales calls and closing them, which is still a little bit. You can see here how the strongest offer possible in this case would be me taking the sales calls. I do literally all the work for them and I only take a commission, right? And so effort and sacrifice can also be seen as risk. Now in our offer, we've tried to get them as close to the dream outcome as possible. We're increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement, right? The time delay, we're talking about 3 clients a month, so 3 in 30 days. And then the effort and sacrifice is not minimal. They do have to put in a little bit of effort, but we're still doing a lot of the work. So I'm not going to bother doing out the value equation because I think obviously with Hormozi's drawings it's a lot nicer. So now when it comes to number 6, we want to be specific on 2 things. We want to be specific on the time, which we've got already. It's 30 days, right? And we want to be specific with who we work with. Now I've gone with just clients, business consultants in general. And I'm going to stick with that for now. Because again, I don't want this to be just theory. Like I want to go and take action as soon as possible. And so right now, I've got, I'd say, like a 20% good offer. Like I think my offer is at 20%. It's nowhere near 100%. I think it's at 20% good. But this is the thing. I'm not here to try and make something perfect. I know I'm not going to be able to make it perfect. This offer here is like 20% of what a good offer would be. But this is probably good enough for me to book a couple meetings and try and sign a client. At the very least, to book a couple meetings. And when I have conversations with people, whether it be in cold calls or sales calls or from the research I'm going to do, inshallah, I can improve my offer. You see, your offer gets improved over time. You're always tweaking your offer. You're always iterating your offer. You're always making it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Day 1, which is today, my offer is only at 20%. And so I want to take a couple questions here, just in case you do have questions. If not, we're going to start building out the outreach plan, and we're going to start building out the bigger business plan, inshallah, so that we're clear on what we need to do every single step of the way. All right, let me check the chat. Wa alaikum salam, habibi. Alhamdulillah, Rasib. Very, very happy to hear that. Wa alaikum salam. Any questions at all, Ikhwan? Any questions at all? Is there anything that you're curious about when it comes to picking a niche, when it comes to an offer? Is there anything you're curious about that you're thinking, right, I want to talk about this, I'm curious about this? Anything at all what I've done for the last like 50 minutes or so? Nothing at all from anybody? Subhanallah. Start a Q&A. Hey, that's actually cool. There you go. Say something. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to wait for somebody to type it in the chat. If there's a little bit of a lag between me and the chat, then hopefully that makes sense. Good question, Ahmed Akhi. So I talk about this already in the stream, in the video. And so I spoke about it in... I gave the prompt earlier, but I don't know if my head's in the way of the prompt. No, it's not, alhamdulillah. This is what you're going after. I can't copy and paste it because it's too many things, but you can take a screenshot or you can do whatever. That's going to help you decide your niche, Habibi. That's going to help you understand your niche and where you pick. But if you look at the criteria I gave you, that, what's it called? Prompt on ChatGPT puts all of this stuff together. So this is how you pick a niche, Akhi. You look at your interests, you look at who has money, and you look at what problems they have. You don't need to overthink the niche either. It's the thing that people overthink the most. And I'm not saying it matters the least, but at the start, it doesn't matter that much at all. What matters the most at the start is you doing the work and building your skills, because you haven't created any value in the marketplace. And so 1, nobody knows you exist. 2, you're not very valuable. And so naturally, you're not going to make a lot of money unless you start doing the work. What if you're not confident about your content? Is it worth it? I have no idea what you mean. Good question, Tawachi. So at the start, we don't need the skill itself, because we're gonna build the skill ourselves, basically. And the reason we're gonna build the skill ourselves, and you can do this 3 ways. Number 1, if what you're doing for yourself is what you're gonna deliver for your clients, and you build the skill by working on your own business, which is what I'm planning on doing here. So in this case, I'm going to be cold calling for me, and I'm going to be cold calling for these businesses, right? So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do, and this is one I don't usually recommend because it might be the easy way out, but it's going to take you a longer period of time to actually do it, right? Is you basically just learn as you go, which is what I did with my first agencies. Like I was doing Facebook ads for dentists, and I'd never ran Facebook ads before. And so I would sell dentists on me running Facebook ads, but then I'd have to go and learn, I'd have to go and buy courses. So you learn the skills, you go along. Now I want to make a quick point really quickly. Your job as an entrepreneur isn't to have everything figured out. Your job as an entrepreneur is to be confident in the fact that you will try your best to develop the skills and knowledge to solve problems. We're not in school anymore, right? School expects you to have everything figured out before you have the exam. In entrepreneurship, it's the exact opposite. The exam is every day, and you try and figure out how to solve the problems every single day by building your skills. You're not supposed to go in with loads of skills, unless you pick route number 3, in which case you already have loads of skills you've developed. But I'm guessing if you don't have any skills, you're going to either go with route number 1 or route number 2. And if you have a lot of skills that you've developed, then you go, right, these are the skills I have. They solve these problems. Let me see who deals with these problems, and I'll go solve it for them. Right? And so that's why I'm saying it's like you have to get started at the beginning, because once you have a lot of skills, you can make a lot more money, because number 3 becomes the option. You have a bunch of skills that can solve a bunch of problems, and you go, right, which problem do I want to solve, and who should I solve it for? Hopefully that makes sense. Inshallah, Harouj, wa alaikum salam, it will be, bi'idhnillah. I'm half French, half Tunisian. That's a very good question. So my goal is to get the business to 10K per month. I'm probably going to get one of my students, one of my clients, to take over the business at some point. So I'll probably just give it to him. So that's the plan. Because obviously I run my own business anyway. It'd be a bit silly for me to like have 3 or 2 businesses at the same time. And so inshallah, I'll probably give it to him. So that's the plan, inshallah. Get it to 10K per month, then give it to him. Somebody in my mentorship, I'll decide which one. Somebody who has like the same service, like delivering the same service, so I can like train them a little bit. And somebody who sells to the same people. Any other questions, Akhwan? As you can see, by the way, it only took 50 minutes or so for me to do this. I'm not too sure what you mean, Mirza. Telling people about your business is the only way you grow your business. Ahmed Habib, I'm going to business consultants. So I'm working with business consultants. That's my niche, inshallah. So it took 50 minutes to do this, and inshallah now we're going to make a plan. But the hours I'm going to put outside of this live is going to be in research. Just being transparent with you guys. So next week, if I update the offer, and obviously I'll update it live or anything like that, it's going to come from the research that I've done. And I'm not just going to look at Alan Weiss's stuff. I'm going to look up more competitors, more people who sell to business coaches and consultants, inshallah. Let's see any questions real quick. Yeah, Ahmed, if you want to. I wouldn't recommend everybody, like, I'm not saying there's loads of people who are going to be watching this necessarily, but I wouldn't recommend you copy and paste what I do, primarily for the fact that it's going to distort the marketplace. Meaning people are going to have the same offer, people are going to be delivering the same thing, except they're not going to be delivering it at the same level. And so the people that don't know how to deliver it very well, they're not going to build something to them. They're not going to build something to like their interest or their skill set. And so they'll struggle a bit at the start. Obviously, if they stick with it, they'll make it, and that's absolutely fine. We don't want to distort the marketplace because everybody has their individual interests. Everybody has their individual like goals. Everybody has their individual like skills and like everything. And so if you build the business around you, it's going to be a lot more successful than if you build it around me. I'm just saying that. No, it can't be applied through e-commerce, Habibi. This is a service-based business. Nothing to do with e-commerce whatsoever. E-commerce is a completely different business model. The traffic conversion, price, and retention is the same because this is business fundamentals, but this is completely different. This is completely different. Maybe the offer would be a similar thing, or the niche, if you have a specific niche you sell to. But for example, you would generate traffic in a different way. The way you'd convert traffic wouldn't be on a sales call, would be via a web page or Shopify store, whatever it would be. All right, I'll continue with the plan in that case, inshallah. And then I'll end the live stream, bi'idhnillah. But if there's any other questions, put them in the chat. Inshallah, I'll check them out later. So, what is our plan at this point? Well, we've got our offer. We've got our niche. That's done. That's what we've got done today, alhamdulillah. Our offer is not amazing. And so, inshallah, we're going to be improving it over time. But I'm going to put a tick for this now. And so the plan is going to be kind of three steps I guess we should focus on right now. I would say, to be honest, is the most important things we could do. We're going to focus firstly on research. That's going to be the first thing. And so we're going to watch videos, watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, read blogs, whatever it would be. We're going to research. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create or upgrade offer. So our offer that is better than what it is right now. And then last but not least, which inshallah we're going to start doing next week. And you might be thinking, whoa, this is happening quickly. We're going to start outreaching. In this case, we're going to cold call. As you can see, I'm trying to grow the business here. I'm not trying to go through and do nonsense and waste my time. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to help, like, obviously, alhamdulillah, I've reached this point now, but like, you know, when you start a business, you want to help yourself, you want to help your family, right? And you can't waste time. You can't do nothing. You can't watch a bunch of YouTube videos for the sake of watching them. The way I'm building the business is this. This is the structure of the business, inshallah. I have my offer and my niche, okay? And what I'm doing is my service equals my own outreach. And so what I'm doing for me is what I'm doing for them. And so I don't need to like my point is that I don't need to go and watch YouTube videos to do this. Like, I'm doing it for me. So I'm doing it for them. And this can apply to any type of business you decide to do. Inshallah, if I decide to do the coaching business next after I get this one to 10K per month, just so I can show that people can do this with a coaching business as well, you don't look at coaching that you've never done. You look at what problems have you solved for you, because then what you do for you is what you do for others. The same thing if you do an automations agency or something. It's like, what automations do I need to apply into my business? Start off with the automations that you need to apply into your business, then sell those. Once you've sold those, learn a new automation by applying it to your business and sell those. And so what you do for you is what you do for others. And so that's the way I'm structuring the business. The way I'm going to structure the business is that I'm going to cold call to get myself clients. Okay? And I'm going to cold call for my clients. And therefore, the skill I'm doubling down on is cold calling. There might be something I decide to do later on because I've got experience in like DMs and everything like that. I've literally got like a 45-minute video showing you guys the exact scripts and everything, the structure, just the whole shabam for the DMs themselves and how you can do it yourself. But I want to double down on cold calling. Why? Because most people are scared to do it. So I have the advantage there. Most people are scared to do cold calls. Most people won't do cold calls. And most people will always avoid doing cold calling. But I want to do it. And so this one's the shortest part. And you might be thinking, why is it the shortest part? Because I can't necessarily do this live. It'd just be incredibly boring. Because a lot of this is going to be researching the niche. That's active, right? It's not passive and doing nonsense. Like right now, this is what I'm going to do outside the live. I'm going to do the research. Inshallah, live, I'm going to upgrade the offer. And then live, I'm going to start outreaching straight away. And so live, bi'idhnillah, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to generate the numbers in the first place. Like I'm going to cold call. What's the process of cold calling, right? I might not cold call in the next live, but inshallah, I'm going to have the script ready. I'm going to have people ready to cold call, at least a way to get people to cold call. And that way, inshallah, at some point, the soonest possible thing is to start outreaching. Now, the reason I wanted to do these live is because I want to show you guys that it takes not a lot of time. Like, yes, I have skills, alhamdulillah, and it's going to take more time for people who've completely started from zero to develop those skills. I'm not going to lie and pretend like I said, I'm not trying to say this is like a quick, get-rich-quick scheme. It's like, oh, you just do 1 hour of work a day. Like, I've got skills already, so I have to do less work than a lot of other people. And this is familiar for me. But it's familiar, and inshallah, and you guys can tell me if I've done something wrong, and you can obviously put it in the comments when the video goes live as well. If there's something about this that's like, oh, how am I supposed to know that? Because hopefully I've explained it. I've explained how I understand it or how I know it. But the goal is to spend 1 to 2 or 3 hours maximum on these lives to show that it doesn't take that much time. So if you have school, if you have a family, if you're incredibly busy, you can still do this bit in the left. So any last questions before we go? Let's see the chat. Is e-commerce halal? Yeah, if it's your stuff, then it's halal. If you're selling somebody else's stuff and they don't know that you're selling somebody else's stuff, then it's haram. Yes, you can do it with a copywriting skill. I can't help you with the copywriting skill. Just write copy. I don't know what to tell you. Copywriting skill, like copywriting is the easiest skill to develop. It's not easy in terms of like, it doesn't require work, because obviously it requires work, but it's so simple. Like read other people's sales letters, watch other people's VSLs, learn why they did certain things and the principles by reading books on human psychology. I don't think I've ever bought a course on copywriting. It's the most useless course to buy. Like, I just need to read how other people sell and learn from other people based on what they've done, not based on what some guy's teaching me in theory. Assalamu alaikum, Adam Habibi. Assalamu alaikum, Adam. I've built out the offer, Adam. So inshallah, I'll probably start cold calling next week in the next live or the live after that. Amina Rouge, may Allah give us all success. Assalamu alaikum, it's gaming. I won't walk you through my whole business model specifically. Because inshallah you can rewatch the live. It's just going to take longer. Like, you could write, it's better for you to watch like the first 10 minutes of the live than for me to re-explain it basically. Yeah, inshallah. By the way, if you guys are in my free school community, which you can join, it's probably somewhere in the description or somewhere on the screen. It's just school.com/Ummah. If you're in there, DM me and tell me that you were in the live. Preferably take a screenshot, although you guys are all Muslims, so I believe you. But I've got a little free gift for you. I won't say what the gift is, but I've got a little free gift for you, inshallah. All right, Ikhwan. I'll let you guys go, inshallah. Inshallah, okay. In terms of building out a good offer, again, Habibi, like, if you were here from the beginning, then you're good. If you weren't here at the beginning, then just rewatch the live. I know I hate to be annoying, but if you just follow the process, you'll see what I mean, what problem you need to solve, etc., etc. I've broken it step by step, inshallah. The school community is free, hence why I called it a free school community. Otherwise, I wouldn't call it a free school community if it's not free. No worries, Khuwahi. Then just follow the step-by-step process, Habibi. Like, if you were here, just follow the step-by-step process. Assalamu alaikum, Siyaji Habibi. No, I don't believe in burnout, Mirza. I don't believe in burnout. As a Muslim, I don't think you can necessarily burn out. Like, you have Allah to turn to 5 times a day. I don't believe in burnout. Anyways, I won't start yapping about that. Ikhwan, it was lovely having you. Jazakumullah khair for joining generally. Let's make the dua before we go very quickly, because it's technically like a big meeting. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All right, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for you guys supporting me. Inshallah, I'll speak to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.